Hey everybody, I just wanted to do a quick little video here. I'm going to give you guys a tour of the base I've built in this Direwolf build of Minecraft running off Feed the Beast. As you can see, I have some draconic armor, and I've taken myself quite far this time around. I've had some help from my friends, but this is the build I've done. So without further ado, I'm going to put us into first person view here and fly on into the base that I've built. Alright, that's right, we're flying, folks. We're flying. That's because we have armor. So right there, that's the first base that I built with a friend of mine. And I went away for a week's vacation, came back, and found the place absolutely empty. So I had to start over after that. And this is what I built. As you can see down here, I have a pen with some horses in it. There's some bad guys. They're trying to shoot at me right now, but what they're finding is that it's not really working. So we'll just come down here and have a little fun with them. Hi there. You want to blow up? Here. Oh, you blew up. Look at that. Didn't even hurt. Woohoo! Might have hurt my horse. I guess the horse is alright. So we got some horses in a pen out here. They're wearing armor. Got some reindeer. Got some sheep. This is technically the front door, though I rarely come in this way. Some rose bushes, heads of some creepers, some skeletons, some zombies, and yes, the noisy sheep out here. If you do come in this way, the pressure plates will let you in. So you have a collection of wands and some biscuits and a few older weapons. I have a few Enderman souls framed up there that a good friend of mine gave me, and I have some of my older armor sitting here. That's my jetpack that you can hear. It's mounted to the one armor stand. Under the floor you can see I have some water turbine generators. Those were used to power my old angel ring, which I no longer wear since the draconic armor has better flight. But they also they look nice, and they currently power this little thing right over here, my resonator, which I use here and there for different recipes. This is a lava fabricator. It's actually routed under the floor here and comes up and fills the lava tank on my smeltery. And the smeltery right now has different alloys in it. The one I have the most of is Manolin, because I was using Manolin tools before I moved on to Draconic Evolution. So that noise you can hear is actually cicadas that I picked up in the Twilight Forest. And I brought them home to live with me. So there's some cicadas, some fireflies, a couple of Naga trophy heads, Twilight Lich King trophy head, the Minnow Shroom trophy head, and some paintings that I pilfered from the Lich King's castles. Just to sort of decorate the center stack made out of white marble. So as you can see, the walls of the base are also all white marble. They're chiseled into a brick pattern. And what I did here, as you may have noticed when we were outside, just take a step back out and go up so you can see. Hi, zombie. So what I did here is when I built this base, I actually built it to conform to the shape of the basin that I built it in. So there's mountains all around, and I built it to the shape of the basin. I tried to conform to the terrain that I was building it in. I felt that that was a nice way to have it look, and it integrates with the turf quite nicely. So we're just going to go down here and, oh my goodness, look at all these zombies. We'll have a little bit of fun with them. And this guy, oh. There's another archer over here. Hi. Oh man, I took out my horses. That's sad. Oh well. I'll have to go get some more. Sorry, horses. I will miss you. You were good horses. Tried saving you from the zombies and didn't work out so well. That guy was carrying a chicken egg. That's weird. Okay, so back up we go here. So up top I had built over top of the smeltery sort of a chimney stack. And back when I was using jetpack to get around and didn't have elevators, that was a good way for me to get in and out of the base really quick. Have clear glass stairs going down here. This is some of my old equipment. An old alloy smelter and a simple sag mill that I haven't moved yet. Dye mixer, fluid transposer, glacial precipitator, enhanced sag mill, my slice and splice, and my soul binder. And I've also got a series of magma crucibles and fluid transposers used to make different things, like the cryogenic fluid that cools my power ducts. A bunch of other stuff too. I can't remember everything they do right now, just off the top of my head. This is my auto placer and tree fluid extractors. That's used to make plastic. I don't really use that much anymore, but I keep the setup in place for now. Eventually I'll get rid of it. There's another one of my water mills, and this is my transporter system. So when I want to move back and forth between the different bases that my friends have set up, we use this. And got my sugarcane farm over here, and my aqueous accumulator, which keeps the water flow going, and it sends water out to the different machines that I have that need water. And then what do we got over here? We have an enchanter, an anvil, and a brewing stand where I can mix potions to do enchantments. We've also got my casting basin where we can extract alloys, and I also have an ingot mold sitting here right now. In here I have molds for other different tools that I could use to make different pieces of tools like hammer heads and broadhead axe heads and stuff like that. But with this tool that I have in my hand right now, I no longer really need any of those. So that sort of shows you the evolution that I went through as I built this particular base. And up here you can see some of those older tools. So there's my mandolin-headed hammer, mandolin shovel. That's an excavator. I got a hatchet, a pickaxe, some of my wrenches. There's a witch soul. Those are some capacitors. So if you look here, I actually have a draconic capacitor. It stores 640 million RF to keep my armor and tools charged when I'm away from the base. So I have a few spares of those that a friend of mine gave me. Got some other wands and some old armor pieces that don't fit on the stands I have. And eventually I'll fill up the rest of those strings. There's one of my magnets, and currently I'm using the ring of magnetizing. It's just a little more powerful and a little bit easier to use. So if we look down here, you're going to see I've got a cactus farm, and I use that to harvest cactus, obviously, so that I don't have to go to the desert when I need cactuses. I've got an ender pearl farm. Don't really need this anymore because I have an enderman spawner, and I have the capability of harvesting tremendous amounts of ender pearls when I need them. But the farm just stays here. It looks nice, and I have no need to really take it down at this point. Up here is my bed, surrounded by some banners. I built it up on a Bifrost block platform. And I've got a copper chest up here that I store different things in that I don't want in my mass storage system. Right now I just have some press patterns from Advanced Energistics, which is the storage system that I'm using. And I'll show you the interface in a second. Up on the wall you can see, I mentioned I have an enderman spawner, so I have a collection of 3 pillars of enderman heads. One there, and one there. And if you look down here, you can see my spawn room. Right now it's set up to spawn wither skeletons and endermen. I only have the wither skeletons running at the moment because I wanted to accumulate some wither skeleton skulls so that I could spawn the wither in the deep dark and get nether stars so that I could do more draconic crafting. If I want to turn the enderman spawner on though, I just flip that switch, and all of a sudden endermen start spawning. And they go pretty fast. I've got them all upgraded with octadic capacitors, so they're running at full speed. We don't need to leave that running right now though, so I think we'll turn it off. And I think we'll turn off the wither skeleton spawner too, because odds are good if I take a look at my inventory, I have quite a few skulls at this point. I've also got this experience obelisk where I've accumulated all the XP points from the kill room into the obelisk so that I can extract them if I need them to do magic or enchantments. So I currently have 826 levels stored in here, which is a pretty good amount. If you look down here, you'll see I've got a wireless charger and a dimensional transceiver to power it set up. I did that because I have a wireless charger up on the roof of the base that I'm pointing at right now, but that wireless charger doesn't cover the whole base. So if I was over in this end, I wasn't getting coverage to charge up all my armor and tools. And down here is also where my original mining setup was before I automated all my mining. So as you can see, I built the base over top of what was or what is a pretty extensive cave system, and I've got all kinds of different mine shafts that I've built down here over the course of this build. I don't really come down here much anymore because everything's pretty well automated and I don't need to do much manual mining, but it's still here in case I want to come and have a look. I have an entrance on this side too. You can see this one comes down here, and that shoots across to the other side where I just was, and that goes all the way down to bedrock. We're not going to go down there for this this video, but that's what's there. So as we go back up in here, looked at the smeltery, looked at the lava. This is my automated processor setup. So when I need to manufacture processors for my AE installation, I can feed all the input materials into this chest, and they automatically feed into these inscribers. And the inscribers have the different presses in them, and they feed their raw circuits into this storage, and then this storage feeds the circuits into this final inscriber, which creates the actual processors. So as you can see, I've got some calculation processors and engineering processors in here, and I have a bunch that haven't been manufactured yet. But at one point, I got to a stage where I had enough in storage that I didn't need to manufacture anymore. So if I need to, I can spin that up again. This is where I create or grow the charged Certus quartz crystals, which are what are used for some of the base processor specs for the AE system, which is here. So you can see the AE controller, my drive arrays, only about half full at this point in time. This is my auto crafting setup, so I have terminals, interfaces, molecular assemblers over here. So you can see all the different things that I can manufacture through these different interfaces. These are all patterns that I've set up. So if I need any one of those devices, I log into AE, and here, for instance, if I need a solar panel, I can just click on it and tell it I need 10, say next, tell it which CPU to use, in this case automatic, or I can go to number 0. I've only got one set up for now, and it tells me all the parts that I need. In this case, I wouldn't be missing anything, so if I click start, it would actually automatically craft all those solar panels. We don't do that at this point because we don't need them, but that's just how that works. And if you look up there, you can see this is the actual crafting storage, the crafting monitor, and the CPU is embedded within these two components. So when I'm manufacturing something, it'll show the number that are being produced and what is being produced on this screen, so that you can keep an eye on the process. This is the storage bus, the master bus that goes over here to my automated processing. So I have pulverizers and furnaces so that we can pulverize raw ore to double it, and then we put it through the furnace to create ingots, and then those ingots get fed back into the storage system. And then I have my atomic reconstructor, which I can turn on. It's got a diamantine crystal block structure where I can drop the elements inside. I just poke a hole in the roof, drop the elements inside, and then I turn it on and let it run until it's done. And then I just extract all the materials and put the chamber back intact. So I've also got an alloy smelter and an induction smelter over here for different manufacturing that I need to do. Eventually I'm going to automate all the manufacturing through the smelters and bring the SAG mills that are over on the other side of the base over here and automate those as well. But that's, TBD. It's on my to-do list. If we look up here, you'll see this is my my void ore miner, so that's what extracts all the ore out of the earth. It's not running right now. I have the dimensional transceiver disconnected because if I leave it run, it will simply fill my storage system. It's a tier 6, so it's as high as you go. And same thing, I have a tier 6 resource miner here, so it pulls sand and gravel and other type resources that aren't mineral or ore specific out of the ground, and it's the same thing. I've got it turned off. The beams show that they're running, but I think that's just a bug with the environmental tech mod. If I were to leave those run, my storage system, all those drives would be red. I'd have no room, and I'd only have to leave it run for about a day for that to happen. And then my auto processing system can't keep up at that point because there's just too much stuff. If you look in here, you'll see I have 195,000 lead ore, 148,000 iron ore, 116,000 copper, so on and so forth. So I have quite enough of just about everything to do pretty much anything I want at this point. If I run short of something, I can fire those up and away they'll go. So I mentioned that I have a wither spawn room. If you look in here, there's wither skeleton skulls. And let's go see if we have any soul sand. If we have soul sand, I can show you how this works. So I've got 876 soul sand. So what we're going to do is, this ender chest is set up to relay to an ender chest in a place called the Deep Dark. And we're going to go there now. We'll stand on my Deep Dark portal. And soon as we get there, you'll see what the wither spawner does and how it functions. So, okay, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 withers in here right now. So that ender chest is actually sitting right here. So if you can look, you can see all the pieces in there. And it goes to a wither builder that's on the other side of that wall over there. Builds the withers, and then there's a mob grinder that kills them and harvests their nether stars and the other elements that come out of them. And also, there's 189 levels in here of XP, so I'm accumulating the XP as well. So you can come through the Deep Dark portal, or I set up a teleportation device. So we're just going to go back to my castle and carry on. So the reason I set that up there, as you can hear, it's very loud. It's also very destructive. The withers are actually spawned inside a wither-proof room, and it's all surrounded by wither blocks. So, oh, what's this now? Somebody's left me something on the wall here. This is quite funny. Tiny potatoes. I'll have to find out who did that. Somebody played a joke. I like it though. It's funny. So that's the miners, and that's the wither spawn room, which is in a different dimension. Over here we've got some of our old school stuff. Crafting station, crafting table, an uncrafting table. Now if we go up to the roof, so this is an elevator block. If we go up to the roof, you'll see I have a draconic core. And this is where I store my energy. So this is a tier 7 energy core. It's storing 2.14 tera RF, which is a lot. And it's at 100% right now. And this core actually outputs through this pylon and this dimensional transceiver and the wireless charger. So this dimensional transceiver transmits to the other dimensional transceivers within my base. For instance, the ones on top of the miners, the one on the wireless charger down in the sub-basement, or in the basement where the mine was, and there's one under the floor powering the AE controller. And this wireless charger is powered right off that pylon too. So these will pull energy from the draconic core. And then during the day, right now it's not pulling anything because all my systems are powered down. But during the day, I have 3 tier 6 solar panels. So there's 1, 2, and 3. And they're covered with infused glass blocks that are heated so that the snow can't form up on them. And during the day, they will take the power from the sun and keep the core fully charged. Basically, I'm at a point now where this core won't go down unless I build a lot more machinery to power, and then I'm drawing more than I'm manufacturing at that point. So the entire roof is also made out of heated glass, and I have Bifrost blocks on top of the stack. And the reason for that is because I'm in a mountainous area. As you can see, there's snow in the mountains. And what was happening was when it would rain or when it would snow and it was cold enough to snow, it would turn to snow and accumulate on the roof, and I couldn't see through it. And I didn't like that because one of the things I really like about this base is the way it looks from on high. You can see everything right through the ceiling, and I just like the way that looks. And I also, I didn't want my solar panels covered in snow because then they're not working. So this way here, they can work at all times. Although if it's snowing, they gather much less solar energy, but they can still work. Over on this side is where I used to have a tree farm when I was running a different generator setup. And that generator setup was using something called syngas, which required charcoal and water in order to manufacture the syngas. It was a chemical reaction. And so I needed a lot of trees in order to burn the wood to turn it to charcoal to feed the generator, which would then create RF that the generator would feed power to the rest of my base with. Once I switched to solar and a draconic core, I didn't need that anymore, so I took the tree farm out. There is still a slime tree growing down there, and I harvest the slime blocks off it from time to time, but it's the same as a lot of the other resources. I'm at a point now where I have so many resources that I don't need to keep harvesting. I can basically just go play. So I can go in my wonderful set of draconic armor with my draconic tools, and I can just go and basically do what I want. I've got a draconic bow. I have a draconic staff of power, which can be used to mine, dig, cut down trees, and it serves as a sword. So I'm pretty well equipped. I can go and do just about anything I want in the world. We've even gone and fought the Chaos Dragon, which is a pretty big bad boss, and it's tough. We have to be careful, but we can manage to do it. As you can see, there's a bad guy over there, and he's shooting at me. It's basically not even making a mark. There's a couple zombies down here. Nice witch. Hello. One shot, and my area of effect on this weapon is actually pretty wide, so a lot of times when I take a hit like this, I'm actually taking out, 2 and 3 guys at a time. Those guys seem to be fighting amongst themselves for some reason. Not sure what was up with that. Anyhow, that's my base. I hope you liked the tour. I hope I didn't talk too much, or I talked enough. And if anybody has any questions, feel free to leave me a comment, or send me an email, or send me an IM, or whatever you like. Thanks for coming out.